So, first question on our list is just how would you describe your journey towards ICA recognition?
I think that it was a very pleasant one, and I think it's mostly because of the way that the mentorship has been arranged for our school. For me, a journey like that is much about the relationship that you form with someone, and I love that it's all about forming that partnership and doing it together rather than it's an inspection. So we've experienced it as such, and we felt that we had a great mentor that guided us through that process. And I think something else that I really appreciated was the flexibility there, that it's not all set in stone, even though you've got a really clear framework, it's still possible to adapt it to your school needs. So me and Marco, we both have been through the bottom line 9 ones. And it's not like one size fits all. Your school has to do all those steps. It actually does what we are saying we're doing for children. It differentiates. And it says, you tell us what you need. How can we support you? So that whole process has just been so accommodating and getting us there. And even though that we were going from the bottom line 9 to a very new system, I think it was very clear in the 3 guides what was expected and what was coming. So the timeline as well as the expectations were very clear. So yeah, both the expectations and also the mentorship has tremendously helped our school to go through this. Marco, would you like to add anything? What I'm forgetting maybe about?
No, I think perhaps just to add that with every accreditation, and this is no different, you really get the focus on how well the teachers are using the IOIC and the IPC to help children learn. And that is so much our core focus, that if an instrument can allow us to do that, then we're pretty happy that that's happened. So you got lots of conversations, small ones, big ones, all team presentations, but also just one-to-one conversations about what it is that we need to do to improve on what we're already doing. And what it also does, it kind of helps you to reflect on your current leadership structure and what do you think you need to be able to move forward in a powerful way. We're quite a big school, so it's the way you set it up is the way it's going to work. I mean, in our previous schools, if Nienke had a fantastic idea, she could put her sneakers on and by lunchtime everybody would understand or ignore her fantastic idea. It doesn't work in a school like that. So it also, knowing that we're going to take this on, we thought about how we're going to do this. Nienke and myself, we're quite experienced in accreditation and in the curricula, mainly the IPC, and Nienke's made herself an IOIC specialist in a record time. But we then knew that the 2 of us would not be able to do this. It was just simply too big a job for we got an academic team of about 90 people. So to reach them all and to keep reaching them throughout this process, we came up with a different structure for the leadership team. And that's worked really well. And that in combination with the consultation that Nienke spoke about, I think worked really well.
What advice might you offer to others considering moving towards ICA accreditation based on what you've been through yourselves?
I can highly recommend it to another school to set up a team where it's been implemented from the inside out. And I think something that I'd like to incorporate more is doing that with children as well. And the community has been part of that, but could be more participating in that. Like, I think perhaps a school might say, oh, we want to get the accreditation because it's good for the marketing or it's good for the school. But if you really want to make that lasting change, which I know that you're all about, is it has to come from the inside, and they have to understand it's about improving learning, and it's about that being that champion of quality. And it's something to last, and it's a change of mindset. And therefore, I think that a democratic approach and not a dictatorial one is very important. So whoever wants to take on that journey, they have to really look at their leadership philosophy before they're embarking. And I can read through all your documents that's how you consider it, because there's 4 areas of looking at improving learning. From the learners, so they should have a voice. From the teachers, so they should have a voice. from the leadership, so they should facilitate, and from the community, and they should have a voice. So I think for a successful transition, it's so important that collaboration will be structured. And that's where, as a leadership, you have a responsibility to make that happen, to create that agency within your school and beyond your school, in partnerships as well with other schools, perhaps. So, yeah.
Yes, I think you've got a very old Martin Skelton quote, which is my favorite of all times, which is make children members of the crew, not passengers. The same goes for our teachers, and the same goes for our leaders. So it's not been, although Nienke and I were probably the most experienced people in the IPC, and especially in IPC leadership, it's not been Nienke and I just running this and then teachers being told what we expect of them, and if they follow nicely, we'd be very happy. It's not been like that at all. And most of the time, it's not us on the stage, it's us next to the stage, applauding lots of people on the stage who are entertaining other people who are at that point enjoying the people on the stage. So we've been more enabling than we've been leading in a very tight manner, I would say. It was just getting the best out of everybody.
I think that we just practice what we preach. We're saying that children should be part of their journey. They have their own rubrics for improving learning. And I think that we just, show that on all levels. So the leadership uses their own professional development, and the children should also be part of the metacognition of this process. So they should also be aware that they have a say in it. And Marco and myself, we also take any opportunity in assemblies to ask children about our shared vision, to ask them about, like, okay, so what do you think this means? What does it mean to you? So when you're asking me to give advice for a school, I would say enable that structure to do what it's supposed to do. That structure is like a wheel of change that rolls through the school, and everybody should be part of that. And you can see that when children are part of those conversations, they got so much to say. And I think the teachers started to love that we did that in the assemblies as well. And they now have more dialogue with children. So especially in the Asian context, that's not something that was there traditionally. And I think that has made a huge impact on how children now think about their journey and make them feel about it. Now, I would love to research how they feel and like do some really more in-depth digging there, but the time doesn't allow us. We're going for the full accreditation now, so we better get this one sorted first. But
that's amazing to hear. How do you value the mentor support that you've received as part of the process?
That was lovely.
No, I work with Helen a lot in a different matter, on a different platform. And she's been lovely, and she knows what she's talking about. She's asking the right questions. Nienke?
Yeah, I read the description of what a mentor should be doing and what they shouldn't be doing, and how they are supposed to support the schools. I could tick all those boxes for Helen. She doesn't like what we do as well. She doesn't tell us what to do. She doesn't judge. She doesn't tell us like this is right or wrong. She does do the mentorship in a real fantastic way, where she just asks us to work with our own strengths, and she is just there to facilitate in the areas that we got questions about. Like, I've got some administrative questions, and then she will just support with those. And she's been just that. And also, her positive energy does bring a very important part to how successful you are on that journey. Her making you feel that you can do this as a school is so important. It's not just it's relational. And like Marco already knows, Helen, I actually did my ILMP with her, so I was in training with her as well. But I've never worked with her in this way, and I can tell that she's just very experienced.
And it's like what you said, Nienke, there were high order thinking questions for us, and that's good, because you're kind of stuck in your own school, in your own way of thinking. So it's good that you sometimes get a question that makes you think, and she had plenty of those. But it's also very practical. Oh, you need to know if you're going A, B, or C. I'll let you know next time. I'll work that out for you. So it was a nice mixture of all that, I have to say.
pragmatic as well as critical in a positive way, but critical like, did you consider this perspective?
And I think
Mhm.
Fieldwork knew that the matching of, are they called consultants? With the schools
Mentors.
mentors is very important
Mm.
to
Yeah.
get the right person to the right school. And I think they took that very seriously. And as a result, it was a good match.
Yeah, so
Fab.
when the recognition visitor, she is experienced in the Asian context, therefore she can understand how important it is for a school to get a visitor that understand the context and the international perspective of what you can see and expect, not through the Western glasses, but really from, if you work in a certain school, it brings that uniqueness, and that should be recognized as well as, I would say, valued, like not like as if it's a shortcoming, but that's a value. And if we were saying that it's an international system, then that should be part of the values that are there, against a set criterion, obviously, but within context.
How challenging or successful has it been to engage with the self-review process as part of your journey towards ICA accreditation?
Well, we were recognized, so I'd say we've been successful, but now with the
Of
second
course.
part, it's going to be way more rigorous. I think the energy that our team now still has after this and going for part two, that's a long journey that takes a lot of stamina and resilience. And I think if you approach it as something that is a tick off and it will disappear, it will feel like that and you can't achieve it. But if you use it to capture that energy that the teachers bring when you empower them, because they get to have a say in it and that children get to have a say about their learning, it actually gives you direction in these really tricky COVID times. And it actually helped our school to maintain on track and not lose direction and focus. So some people ask, like, is it not really tricky to do it during this COVID time? And yes, it is. And teachers have been working 50%, and they have to cover for like all the absences that we've had. So it's been really challenging. But still, if you then see how proud they are if they improve things and how keen they are to share it, because they just can't wait to tell you those things because they're so excited, then I think that's what you do it for, not to get that degree in the end or that recognition. That's a bonus. It really is. And it's a great thing for the school to have it. But I think the success lies in the fact that even during these challenging times, there is still excitement. And I can show you videos of teachers doing the PDs that they designed themselves to help others succeed. And this was my personal success moment where I thought, yeah, we're on the right track here, is that they designed that PD, they delivered it, and they reflected on it themselves and came up with new ways forward. And me, Marco, was sitting there in the back going like, okay, maybe it's time for me to start looking for a new job soon, because they did really well. I mean, there's always stuff to improve. There always will be. But I think that moving Asian teachers from a receiving status to a action approach is just the biggest achievement for what we have accomplished.
All our teachers are local, so it was used to be the idea that the leadership comes in and kind of gives them the knowledge and trains their skills, and then they. But this has now become a situation in which there's a lot of development from within, and I think that as a result, the way that we facilitate learning throughout the school has improved drastically over the last couple of years.
Yeah, and the teachers now have ownerships because they got their own portfolios, so they're in charge. They, like, if we come for an how do you say it, a more planned observation, that is out of their control. It's like we're in control. But before that, they've had all the rubrics. They already had chance to evidence it. Not when we pop in on that one-off observation, but they have collected videos, notes, pictures, conversations with children. They feel empowered to showcase their personal growth with us, and they're proud to show it. And we're moving away from leadership again, coming in to then tell you whether you're doing a good job. You know if you are. that's not depending on that one-off observation anymore. This process that's been given to us empowers the teachers to really do that by themselves and judge themselves accordingly. And they can do peer reflections and observations. So it's not just us validating that. It is their own, actually what you come to do with us as well. You just come there to validate what we have done through the self-review process. And we do the same with our teachers, and they do the same with the children. You don't need someone else to tell you how well you're doing. You know yourself how you can improve as a person and as a learner at all those levels.
What are your goals for the next 3 to 5 years? And in what way has the process of ICA accreditation, well, recognition and now through to accreditation, and how is that supporting you with that?
Well, the first thing what you want to do as any school is you want to have the focus firmly put on learning, and especially in a school for profit like ours, sometimes that is not as easy as it sounds. But when you can use an instrument like the ICA accreditation, then you do get to a point where they say, okay, this is important for us. Now, we've touched upon it before. There are some marketing and publication advantages of becoming accredited, but that's not the plan. The plan was to spend. We implemented the IPC in 2017, and the plan was as soon as possible to go to recognition and to go to accreditation, because we feel that process, the whole school would be able to focus on learning. And there's going to be a wave, like there always is. So once we've done this, we need to make sure that the years thereafter, we keep the momentum going with IPC and IOSC, and in our case also quality learning. But we then also can see, okay, now we know how we bring everything together, how we have a coherent approach to help children learn. Let's have a look at our other curricula to see if we're still doing the right things there and if we need some strengthening there. And then that will be a cycle that will be ongoing, I hope. There's a sustainability cycle that Nienke has created, where we look at what do we need to do, what kind of reflections are needed to make sure that we keep developing ourselves. And I think that more than anything else will be our aim, because if we develop ourselves and our team develops themselves further, then learning will increase in depth and in volume. That is basically it. And if we make sure we have fantastic learning going on, parents will bring their children to us, and we will be very happy that our purpose has been achieved, that we help children learn. That's the cycle. Strategically, where we need to be, this is a big school. We need to be able to grow and run 6-7 classes per year group and still have that focus on learning. Then I think both Nienke and myself will be very happy.
I think not only for the attraction of like new prospective families and children, another benefit that I've been seeing, whether that's part of your school strategic plan or not, is that we now attract really good teachers, because they know that they're going to get a lot of very good professional development with us, and they're very proud to be recognized as such. I now have a way more higher staff that really chose our school because they know what we do for them, and they find it very attractive, aside from the salary, to get that professional development with the IUIC and the IPC. They know it is a network of schools. So if they ever want to be mobile or move across schools, that is good for their CV and their portfolio. So also on that level, that really works for them to get that accreditation. And they always nag about professional development on your website as well, like from the field work then, like to say, can we go to a course like this? And I always tell them, but you do have us already. It's that they want to develop. They do want to get that benchmark. That benchmark has a value. Yeah.
How has ICA accreditation impacted your success and your school community's success?
Yeah, I think that just to quickly summarize, perhaps, is to say that something that I notice is the biggest asset is that children, teachers, and leaders are having dialogues about improving learning, that's a shift. What that does is it makes us attractive as a school because it's a place of well-being. People are happy there. It means that it retains quality, it attracts quality, it attracts new parents, and it attracts the parents that we are looking for as well. It is a philosophy, and we tell parents this is what we do here, and if that doesn't resonate with you, find a different school. We're not there for the numbers. The numbers will come with the people that resonate with our underpinning philosophy. So what it does for us is it helps us to be who we want to be, and not just be facilitators of improving learning, but also be a community of people and having an eye for people, by giving them that agency within that system. And I think that has, benefited us as a school and as people, and puts us on the market in a good place. But that is more like a secondary part.
Sure.
Yeah, of course, we want the children to come in, otherwise they can't enjoy.
And that happens.
And
that happens.
You're right. The foundations of the IPC help, and IOIC, sorry, help us to voice who we are and help us to say to parents, hey, this is how we think you need to raise your child ready. That's our tagline, raise them ready. This is how we think we should raise your child ready. And we then, the way we explain that is through the foundations of the IPC and the IOIC. That's incredibly helpful. It gives direction, both as where we want to go for mission and vision, but also what the work is that we need to do to get the children there.